Hello, everyone. Hope you're all staying safe, staying at home, doing all those important things that we need to do at this time, hand sanitizing, social distancing. So yes, another interview from home today. And my guest today is Oluwaseun Ayodeji Osowobi, and she is a COVID-19 survivor. Let her share her story with us this morning. And how are you today?
I'm great. I'm feeling very good.
Good. It's going to be a good day. You know, I think what's important about life is that for each day that we wake up, we have to say, thank you, dear Lord, for giving me yet another day to make today a better day, for me to live, to discover, to be innovative, to learn, to share.
Yeah.
So on the note of sharing, I want to say thank you so much for finding the courage to share. Now, I know you're a fighter. You know, you always used your voice for good and for the voiceless. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Everything that we're experiencing now under COVID-19 is all fairly new to us.
Yes.
And you woke up a few weeks ago as a survivor of this.
Yes.
And you were concerned about sharing your story.
Yes.
What caused the concern, Sharon?
For me, COVID is a very new issue, and I've read a couple of comments about, how it's a propaganda by government to embezzle funds, how it's not in Nigeria. And I think I read a story about someone who was lynched outside the country, wasn't in Nigeria, who was lynched because he was confirmed positive. So for me, there were a lot of biases in, how people regarded those who tested positive. So I was worried. First, I had my case of rape out there. Now I'm going to have another situation out there. Is this something I want to be remembered for the rest of my life? I was a bit worried, about how this will impact my mental health going forward. But I just thought it was important to clear up all the myths and the wrong narratives, because if I don't, who will?
Who will? So what was the deciding factor for you? When did you decide that, okay, I'm going to be strong about this and I'm going to do this? What was that shift in your mind?
For me, I think the shift came when I spoke to my family and I said, I want to do this. And they said, oh, we've always supported you from the get-go. Please go ahead, do what you want to do. That was an encouraging moment for me. Sorry.
Yes.
Someone keeps calling me. My phone is always on fire.
Yes, because you keep going blank. You keep going off. Okay. You're back now.
If I have to turn off my mobile network so nobody can reach me.
Okay. No worries. We're back. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, the deciding factor was when I spoke to my family and I said, I want to speak about this issue. I know it may haunt me for the rest of my life, but I'm not a stranger to stigmatization or breaking societal standards and norms. Like, I like to go to places where society says, keep quiet.
Yes.
This is what it should be. It shouldn't be that way. I like to, test those powers. So my parents and family members said, we know you, we know your powers, we know what your voice can do. So we support you. And that for me was a moment where I said, you know what, if I have my family backing, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. And the governor spoke out recently on stigmatization on COVID-19. And he said, I quote, I would like to use this opportunity to advise Lagosians against stigmatizing the discharged patients, as this act could bring feelings of shame, hopelessness, and despair. We need to do all we can to support them in whatever form to get over memories as soon as possible. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It's important because the thing about our society is that we tend to stigmatize everything. We have seen really important figures in the West come out to say, I am COVID-19 positive. Prince of Wales has done it. Tom Hanks has done it. Idris Elba has done it. Boris Johnson has done it. He's even in hospital now in intensive care. We pray that he will overcome this.
Yeah.
I think, it's strong of you as an ordinary person doing extraordinary things, Sharon, to come out and say, you know, the things to come out there and say, listen, I am positive. Because as you said, you know, we're not used to doing this. So thank you for doing it. But now that takes me on to, how did you discover that you were positive? How did you know that you had this coronavirus? I mean, what happened? I know that you traveled, you came to England, and then you got back to Lagos, and then what made you, what happened? Tell us, share your story.
So I was feeling unwell. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but I was just a bit concerned because I was running temperature. I had fever. I didn't have cough at the time, so I thought, oh, it can't be COVID. I'm good. But somewhere at the back of my mind, I knew that whether it was COVID or not, I needed to be careful because I had a flu. So it meant that I was susceptible to getting COVID anyway at some point or whatever, and because of my travel history as well. So when, you know, my dad came to pick me at the airport, I said, oh, please don't touch me. And he was like, why? And I'm like, I'm not well, and I don't want you to, you know, get anything. I don't know what it is. And he understood, you know. But then when I got home, the fever heightened. You know, I was cold and I was hot and I was sweating. I've never experienced such a thing in my life. And so my mom.
So the symptoms were new to you. It didn't feel like, it didn't feel like the normal flu, no?
No. I mean, I was sweating, I was cold, and I was hot. Wow. Like, I really can't explain how that is possible in one body. And so I noticed that, you know, my tongue was losing taste. Like I couldn't eat that night. So I thought, okay, maybe it's just the stress of my travel, because I had a very stressful week, being at, you know, top level activities in the UK. So I thought, oh, I've met too many people, I've done too many things, I'm tired. But then the next day, then the cough started. It just started like just one cough, you know, and then multiple times I was coughing. I was like, okay, there's something not right here. And so I spoke to my friend, and he said, these are like the symptoms of COVID. I mean, it's a big COVID, which means, my friend, you know, you brought COVID home. And I was like, no, I don't know what it is, but, you know, let me just get tested. So I contacted the NCDC and I said, I have these symptoms. Can I get tested? And, you know, they came over to my house to test me, and, you know,
so they showed up at my house. You didn't go to them. They came to you.
They had asked me, the person I spoke to had asked me to go to Louth to get tested. And then on my, you know, way, I was dressing up, and then I got a call after to say, oh, please don't leave your house. I was like, what's going on? They're like, oh, please don't leave your house. Somebody will come and test you at home. I waited that day. I was calling and calling. Nobody showed up. So my friend went on Twitter, you know, to like call them up, like, guys, my friend is sick, go and test her. Yeah. So they came to my house the next day, and that's how I got tested.
Wow. So how long did it take for you to get your test results?
It was very quick, funny enough. I got tested, say, in the afternoon on a particular day, and by midnight the next day, the ambulance was in front of my house to pick me up.
Wow. So were you expecting the ambulance? Were you afraid when this ambulance came?
I wasn't expecting them, because I had done the test and I was told, oh, you'll be called, you know, about your test results so you could know. So I was waiting to be called.
Just came with the ambulance.
My dad woke me up from sleep. I was even like, Dad, please, I beg you, don't wake me up like that. Next time I could die from my sleep, because it was like a sudden wake up. They're here for you. And I was like,
they come in all the gear, in all the protective gear.
Everything. They came in everything. And I was petrified. Like, why are you here for me? What's going on? And they said, oh, we're just here to pick you. I said, why? Wow. Is something wrong? Is my result out? Am I positive? Yeah. He said they can't give me any information. And I needed that information for me to go anywhere with them. So I called NCDC. I saw a call I'd missed on my phone around, I think, 11 p.m. So I called the number back, and then she said, oh, what flight were you on? I told her all the information. And then I said, sorry, I'm actually calling you because I have people in front of my house who are here to get me. What is my test result? And she was like, oh, I'm not in the place to tell you. Okay. I'm like, you are in the place to tell me because you are NCDC. Yeah. And I should know my test result before I'm going with these people. So she told me, you know, you tested positive, and tears rolled down my face because I was scared.
What went through your mind when you found out that you tested positive?
I was scared. Yeah. I was worried. You know, I wasn't too sure if Nigeria was ready to handle this situation, because even global countries or, developed countries were struggling. Their healthcare system couldn't handle cases. So I'm then not looking at our own healthcare system and asking God, why? Like, why me? At this, like, coronavirus, like, people are dying every day. Like, why? So I was crying, like I was in tears.
But Sheila, if I can take you back, I'm still going to take you forward and ask what happened. But how do you think you caught it? I mean, like when something like this happens in your life, you try and think back to all the situations you were in, all the places you went to, everybody you hugged, everybody's hand who you shook.
Yeah.
So did you go through that exercise?
I had to go through that because I was very, conscious enough to try to tell people who I was in close contact with to please self-isolate and get tested as well. Because it wasn't just about me, it was about other people's lives as well. So I did, think back, all the events I went for, I informed the contact persons, all the people I have like personal contact with, I informed them. For those who I could not reach at the time, I told a friend who is a mutual friend to please inform them of the situation. So I try to think back just to ensure that everyone is safe and nobody, is at risk.
So, but I guess it was impossible for you to think about where you caught it. You couldn't really.
It was hard because as much as I can remember, I tried my possible best to limit all my events to my high-level meetings. I didn't have like extra meetings on my agenda. It was basically all the high-level meetings I went for. I tried to avoid the subway as much as I could, but there were times I had to take the subway, and the subway is always packed with people.
Yeah.
So it's possible I touched the rail, or someone sneezed, and I wasn't aware that droplets got into my mouth.
Yes.
It's very hard, to identify at what point. Maybe someone even touched me by mistake when we're walking on the road, and I didn't even pay attention to it. It's really hard to know where exactly.
We live in a very connected world whereby if this hadn't happened, no one would give this a second thought. I mean, as you said, with a packed tube, I mean, at times you're sort of like forcing yourself into the tube as the doors close. Those days are gone forever, I guess. But going forward now, so they've come to pick you up. You live at home with your parents. Did you think, wow, are my parents affected? How did you manage all of that with your family? Because you live at home.
So I was like, if anything happens to my family, I would never forgive myself. Like, my family has been one key factor in making me who I am today in terms of being a great support system. So I have brought their name to so much limelight for various issues, but this is not one thing I want to bring their name to the limelight for. So I was really worried about they contracting it. But I remember clearly that when I got back to Nigeria, to Lagos, I self-isolated. I tried as much as possible to distance myself from my parents. Like, my mom would serve me food and I'll tell her, wear your hand gloves, wear your facial mask, wash your hands, sanitize. I acted as though I had coronavirus even when I didn't know I had it. So I was very careful with my parents. I didn't have physical contact with them. All we did was talk from a distance, and the closest they've come to me is to pick up a plate I used to eat. So I was like, I tried my best. I tried to console myself as well.
Tests, right?
Like, they did their test. I asked them to get tests, and they're fine. They're very fine.
So here you are now. You've tested positive. They've come to pick you. They're taking you to the isolation center. So when you first see this center, you're thinking to yourself, please tell us about the center. Tell us what happened at the center and your experience there.
When I got to the center, there was nobody there. Very beautiful place, though, I must say.
Place, but you were the only one there.
Yeah, there was nobody there, even when I arrived, to welcome me in or to, give me whatever it is I needed to wear, because I didn't understand the process. So later, the nurses came out and, they were very far away from me, which is understandable. They were protecting themselves. But nobody at any point asked me, how are you feeling? Is everything okay with you? How are you feeling right now? All I was hearing was, so when did you travel? Where did you go to? Who did you come? I'm like, I already gave this information to NCDC and the Lagos State government during profiling. Like, can I just get water? First of all, it's like 1 in the morning and I'm tired, So it wasn't really a good experience for me at that time. But when I go into the center, I was like, I'm the only one here, the first female. So I was bored, very bored. But then, you know, I was like, do I really want people to join me here? Because that means that people will test positive and I don't want that to happen. But I was also bored. So I kept asking them, please, can I have DStv?
Wow.
Oh my God. Like, I was just like, give me anything to keep me entertained. Because
were you allowed to keep your phones?
yes, I had my phone. But then I didn't have energy to pick up my calls because I was actually very weak. So I had to ask my parents to please bring my laptop so I could watch movies on days that I had energy, because there were days that I was down, like really, really down.
Were your family allowed to visit you?
They couldn't come into the center for their own protection, but they could bring things to the hospital, and then the nurses would then, you know, get their custody.
So when you were there, did the illness get worse in terms of, you know, tell us about how you were feeling in terms of you as a person?
At the time, sorry, it's really tough. It was worse. The dizziness became worse. The diarrhea was bad. You know, when you have a pipe of water.
You know that diarrhea was one of the symptoms.
Oh, I had diarrhea, which is really very weird.
Yeah.
You know, when you have like a broken pipe and water is gushing out of it, that's how I was vomiting water from my body. Wow. And vomiting everything in my system. There were days that
the immune system was basically weak. Everything had weakened within.
It was very weak. And even when I took the medication also had its own side effects, which the doctors were kind enough to explain. So my body was dealing with COVID and then side effect of the medication. So it was too many things happening with me at the same time.
Wow. So sort of how much, do you know what medication you were given, or you were just given just sort of a combo of different pills?
It was a combo of different pills because they were trying to manage COVID itself and also the side effects I was having from the medication. So it was like different tablets, like different numbers in the morning, a different number in the afternoon, different number at night. Like I was taking medication like an addict. Like it was just, and even when I took the medication, sometimes I would throw it out. And I would cry and I would tell the nurses, please give me drip. I can't do this. And they're like, please, you know, we are worried it may clog your lungs. So please try. You will vomit, we know, but try. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't try. It was terrible. It was really terrible.
You were there for 2 weeks.
Yes.
When did you start to get better?
I started getting better when my taste bud improved. So when I was having my symptoms and, you know, my recovery process, I lost my sense of taste, but my sense of smell heightened. So it means I could smell water. Wow. I could smell soap. I could smell ORS. I was smelling everything. I couldn't eat and all of that. So I knew I was getting better when, you know, my vitals were improving because I was monitoring it as the nurses were taking like my blood pressure, my pulse, my oxygen level. So when it was improving, you know, I knew that, okay, I was getting better. I couldn't eat at all for some days. Like I think for like 3 days, I could not eat at all.
Difficult to breathe? Did you ever have that symptom of finding it difficult to breathe?
I didn't have shortness of breath, but there were times where my breathing was very fast, and there were times where it was very slow. So it was just like off and on. And so, you know, when it was getting normalized, when I was able to at least take a bite or a spoon of rice, I knew I was recovering. I knew it was getting better. So I was encouraged, you know, to keep taking my medication to keep fighting.
Wow. So you got better. And then at some point, the governor and the commissioner for health also came in to see you. Tell us about that.
Very funny story. So I got a call on my phone and the person said, my name is Professor Abayomi. I am the Commissioner for Health for Lagos State. I'm like, oh, you know, good afternoon, sir. Good to hear from you. I was like, please, I don't want to die. And I was like, don't worry, you won't die. We're doing all we can to, you know, save you. I'm on top of your situation. And, you know, he then said, I'll come and check on you someday. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I think Saturday, he just called me, I'm outside. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. So I went to see him, you know, he checked on me, how you doing, how is the medication, your symptoms, your side effects. We talked through everything. I was like, sorry, give me 1 minute. I went to the bathroom to vomit.
Wow.
And then I came back. And I was like, sorry, I know how you feel. You know, it was very nice. And then when I was, you know, fully recovered, then the governor came. At the time I was, you know, donating blood and also donating my plasma to, you know, help other people who, you know, have not recovered, you know. So he came to see me to just say, how are you doing? I hope you're getting better, you know, just to wish me like a good recovery and just be supportive. So yeah, they came.
So overall, you say that Lagos State treated you well?
Yeah. Okay. Were there lapses? Every system has lapses, but it was good. And, you know,
I mean, COVID-19 is new to all of us, so.
Yeah, so everyone is learning through those situations. So I am grateful for everything that they did for me, especially the nurses, the cleaners, and the doctors. And I'm emphasizing this because the nurses and the cleaners are people I see every day. As a matter of fact, there was one person I threw up on out of no control, like wish of mine. My body couldn't control it. So, you know, they were very kind to, you know, help me clean up. They didn't even yell at me. Why did you for me? I want to give me COVID. You know, nobody said that. They were very helpful, cleaned me up, and they are the best.
So you got home. So now so at some point you're told that it's time to go home.
Yeah.
So that COVID is gone.
Yeah.
And at that point, how did you feel?
I was like, yeah, I won. Like, I won this game. Like, by immersion.
But did you at any point feel at the back of your mind, like, you know, you hope that it's really gone?
Yeah. And I was like, I had to ask the doctor over and over again.
Sure.
Can I get reinfected?
Yes. Yes.
And it was like, oh, no, you have enough antibodies. You you can't get reinfected. Your body is good. And I was like, yeah, but is there any 0.01%? Like, is there like any 0.01% chance that I could get reinfected? And he said, no, you're fine. So I was really happy that, okay, so this is good.
The system has the antibodies to deal with it now.
Yes, I do. But I'm still self-isolating because anything can happen and I don't want to be that statistic.
Absolutely. But also there's a lockdown, so you can't go anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my house.
Yeah. Yes. Oluwaseun Ayodeji Osowobi, my darling, I want to thank you for being as brave as you are. You stand for so many things in our society that is a cause for stigmatization, such as, you know, rape. Now you're speaking about COVID, which has taken the world by storm. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And we're wishing you all the very, very best for the future. And I'm hoping that we can catch up post-COVID.
Absolutely.
You know, you've got to come to EbonyLife Place. You've got to come to Turaka, the rooftop, and Turaka there. Yeah?
Yay! I would love to come.
Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you. God
Thank you
bless
so much.
you and have a beautiful day. Thank you, love.
You too.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.